rechace para Cés para Iniesta. No hay fuera de juego. Vamos Iniesta.
اشتباه حرکتی از کوچان نژاد فرصت برای کوچان نژاد توی دروازه گل برای ایران.
Azar is onside here and beyond the keeper and had to score.
Panega buena para Messi, si pasa hasta el primero va, viene gol.
What's going on, everybody? It is 1:03 a.m. in Seattle, and we have been eliminated from the World Cup in the most brutal fashion imaginable. You know, for somebody whose favorite team is the LA Clippers, at one point was considered the most cursed franchise in American sports, you would think that I would have some kind of preparation for this stuff. But I don't think anything could have prepared anyone for what happened on Saturday and really on Sunday. You know, this World Cup for Iran, it was, man, a drama. I didn't want to use the word drama because I think that's insensitive, but it was contentious, and I'm honestly struggling to even find the words, but it was just a whole bunch of horrible everything for the last 6 months when it comes to Iran, from the killings to the war to how that affected this group. You know, so many of our players that play domestically haven't played a league game since February. And from the IRGC blackballing certain players like Osmoon and Hosseini and the countless others. I want to say countless others, but a couple others, I should say. We're the only squad in the tournament that's team is basically tainted by the government penalizing players for speaking out. Beyond that, all the challenges that the team had to face on a day-to-day basis in this World Cup. Not being allowed to stay in hotels in America, or I guess not being able to stay there very long after the game or before the game. You know, the visa stuff, being asked a bunch of questions that had nothing to do with the games. And then, of course, there's the divide between Iranians themselves. Some want the team to succeed. They don't feel like the team is representative of the government. Some think this is the mullah's team and there's a bunch of terrorists on the team and they attack the players constantly and everything that they said or didn't say was held against them, and they harassed the team bus and harassed people that were just going to support the team at the games outside in their non-peaceful protests. It was just an absolute shit show from start to finish. And somehow, with all the stuff I said, and us Iranians knew that this wasn't a very good Iran team. We talked about it. This was not our 2018 team, our 2022 team. But because the World Cup has been watered down, because 32 teams out of 48 advance, and we honestly got a group that was fairly pedestrian, we thought maybe, despite the fact that we don't trust Galinoy, that we don't have Osmoon, we don't have some of these guys that were blackballed, we don't have Moharami and Gholizadeh through injury, that maybe we're still good enough to get by, whether it's as a third-place team or as a second-place team. And it felt so close. I don't even know what to say about what went down. An ass cheek and a toenail disallowed 2 different goals through VAR. That moment last night, and by the way, I mean, as somebody who went to every game, I did a vlog for every game, so check out the atmospheres at those games. Amazing support, especially in LA, from all the Iranians. But that moment last night, or I guess it's 2 nights ago, where we felt like, oh my God, we just had a last minute winner to send us into the group stage, or sorry, to send us into the knockout stage. It was so too good to be true. And that would kind of be the theme today as well. I didn't expect anything out of Ghana to beat Croatia, although it would have been poetic for Carlos to send us through the next round for the first time ever. But I didn't expect anything out of that. Uzbekistan got our hopes up in the beginning, but then DR Congo rightfully played them off the park. And then the last game, the one that I thought was our best chance to get a result, because Germany just so happened to be content with what was going on over there. They were like, oh, we already won the group, so we don't care. We're just going to let Ecuador like possess the ball. That pissed me off. Our, Asian compatriots, Japan, I thought maybe they could help us out, but no. All these teams, Iraq, I mean, it just don't get beaten up that bad by Senegal, but they couldn't do that. Nobody came through. Nobody. And it's just every single result didn't go our way. Everything that could go wrong went wrong. And that's like how I talk about my Clippers. But Iran honestly falls under the same category. And maybe it's meant to be, right? Maybe us not winning an Asian Cup since the Islamic regime took over and never making it out of the group stage since is a sign, but I just don't know if it's going to change anytime soon. I really don't. And I don't know what to do about it either. I'm not a politics channel. I don't. I just hope for the freedom of the people of Iran. And I'm going to talk about some of that stuff a little bit later. But, oh, fuck. I don't know what to say, people. I just think that I'm with you. Iranians that are rooting for this team, the people of Iran, at least, the ones that were rooting for this team. I would say all the people of Iran deserve better, but the ones that are rooting for this team, that were just looking for some kind of joy in their lives after what's been a miserable last 7 months, I just feel sorry for everybody. And I feel sorry for our players who had to have AI-generated photos framing them for things they didn't do by this very radical Shah-supporting group that it seems like you're either pro-IRGC or pro-Shah to these people that are on either side. There's no nuance. There's no middle ground from what you see on social media. But going to games, you see that there's a real middle ground of a lot of Iranians who were repping the lion and sun flag and are not pro-regime, that are just supporting the team because they don't feel like these young men are representative of those murderers, which is exactly what most people that I know, how they feel. But again, I'm not the fan police. I'm not here to shame anyone that didn't root for Team Melli this time around. I'm not here to shame anybody that didn't root for Team Melli 4 years ago after the Massa Amini stuff. But the people that would shame people, I just think that you guys are messed up. But back to the game. Austria and Algeria, I really thought that one would come through. Not really thought. I thought after the other results didn't go our way, I was like, it's just going to be in poetic fashion. We're not going to go through. It's just going to be the opposite of what we want. And it was just the craziest roller coaster of them all. First, Arnautovic scores. Then immediately it gets answered by Algeria. Then Sabitzer scores. And then immediately gets answered by Algeria. And then the rest of the game is reminiscent of two other fraudulent teams, Paraguay and Australia. Good thing the USA kicked their ass, of just passing at the back, conservative, no one going for it. I knew that, or I figured this is it. They're just playing for a draw. It's over. And then somehow they wanted to put us Iranians through the ringer emotionally again. Riyad Mahrez, I was ready to buy his fucking jersey after he scored that goal. And then the unthinkable happens. My question is, usually when a goal is scored in stoppage time, you get 1 extra minute, not 2. They had 2 chances that they were given. What's good with that? What is good with that? FIFA's got a lot of questions to answer with the way they treated our team this time around, man. I get it. There was a war. Dude, our players were treated like less than professionals. They had to overcome a lot of odds. And we almost still did. And look, I'm not going to say that we're completely exempt. Galinoy was very, very defensive minded, almost to a fault. We were so fucking scared to attack and send guys forward or take space in a lot of these games. Against New Zealand, we literally let them just dictate the whole game in midfield. I think Galinoy got that one wrong with the 4-4-2. Mohanlu starting in a World Cup match. And then the second game, we were given a gift with the red card, and we didn't push numbers forward at all. We were still parking the bus with a man advantage. I get it. Belgium's players are infinitely more class than ours. But come on, man. And then the game against Egypt, we knew that if we won, we would have been in. But had we lost, we would have been out with, no chance on Saturday. And we were very conservative until the last 5 minutes, and it almost paid off. So, no, do I think Galinoy, after watching this World Cup and the Asian Cup, for that matter, that we choked, is the man for the job? No. But do I have any optimism that he's going to go? Hell no. Because I know that the IRGC probably likes him. Maybe we won't be able to ever advance out of a group stage or win an Asian Cup again until the IRGC is done. But I don't know if that's going to happen. And I don't know what else to say. Taremi, I love Mehdi, but he could have been a lot better in this World Cup. Besides the penalty miss, he didn't have one good game. And in the Asian Cup, he wasn't good enough either. And then poor Ghaedi came in and made an impact in the first game. He didn't touch the field again. Beiran Van was good. Ramin, one thing I have to say is Ramin Rezayan put his name in a totally different category in this World Cup. We were all nervous. Moharami's out. Ramin is old. He balled out. And he showed a lot of emotion that us Iranians will never forget. Beiran Van, another really good performance. Could have done better on that first goal against Egypt, but overall that performance against Belgium was incredible. Even, Kanani, Shoja, Mohammadi, those guys played really well too, all things considered. Ezzatolahi, classic. He always does his job. Rodus had some good moments, but I felt like he was taken off too early in some games when we needed, his technical ability. But it is what it is. This Iran team wasn't that good. We can't really only blame external factors, because when you leave it up to other teams, then you got to put some blame on yourselves to some degree. And we left it up to other teams to bail us out. And if it wasn't for the third place rule, we wouldn't have advanced anyway. But the toenail and the ass cheek, I just can't get over that. But let me just say this. While this hurts, and this is by far, and I've been through 2, 3, 1 chokes as a fan of the Clippers. This is the worst sporting failure or loss that I've ever endured. I went to every single game. And this was a World Cup in my home country. And more than anything, this was really stressful. Because I'm not a politics guy like that. I'm just a sports guy. And the reason why I stay away from that stuff is because it's so divisive. It just divides and has people going at each other's throats. And I experienced that in America, and have experienced that my whole life. But the Iran stuff was way worse than anything I could have imagined. My whole social media feed on Instagram and Twitter became seeing Iranians fight. Seeing Iranians fight over whether or not you're rooting for this team. And if you're rooting for this team, the pro-Shah, pro-Pahlavi people call you a mullah supporter, or that you're complicit with the IRGC's crimes. And then there's other people that hate the Zionists and anything that is associated with Israel or those people. They're like, you guys are traitors. You guys are dirty scum. You guys are okay with the bombing of the kids in Manab and all that stuff. And it's just sad to see that there's no middle ground or no nuance to these conversations from people on the internet. But that is where I want to make this and end this on a positive note. Because before the first game that we played against New Zealand that happened in LA, I was having trouble sleeping at night. I was literally going to sleep thinking, well, what if the people, because I know a lot of Muslim Iranians, I know a lot of Jewish Iranians. For me, for those that, want to know, I come from a Muslim family. We're not practicing like that. So you can say we're not really religious. We're not even really Muslim like that, right? I went under the, you know, I kissed the Quran. I do all that before I go on vacation. Before I went to every year of college, my mom, you know, that was family tradition. But we're not super religious, although my grandparents, you know, on my mom's side are, but they're not pro IRGC. Almost everybody that's in America is not pro IRGC. So the correlation between the players playing under this flag and them being pro IRGC was something that was really pushed by the other side. And let me just say this about me. I may not have all my political background checks done in terms of knowing what's going on between this country and that, but you're damn sure I'll do my research when it comes to sports. And the things that are being held against some of the players that play domestically, that we do not know their situation. We do not know what kind of threats the IRGC could make to their family. We've seen what happens to players that speak out, yet people that are staying in Beverly Hills and Westwood want these guys to come out and say things on social media as if that's going to make a huge difference. They want them to risk their spot on a World Cup team they've played their whole lives so that you in your Beverly Hills mansion can feel better about this stuff. To me, that is very ignorant. And yes, Osmoon is a hero. We love him. Mazaheri is a hero. Yeah, but by the way, he wasn't going to make the team, just saying. But I hope he's not dead. You know what I'm saying? Like, he is a hero, and I'm proud of any of those players that speak up. I'm not shaming any of them, but I'm saying that people should not get mad at Ramin and Beiranvand. You don't know if they were made to go to those rallies or not. And every single time an Iranian team, since the Islamic regime has taken over, I'm almost positive, at least it's been the case the last 3-4 World Cups, that these guys have to basically do a send-off with the IRGC people before they go. That's like standard procedure. So, you know, I just think that two wrongs don't make a right at the end of the day. I think both sides are toxic. And what I witnessed outside of SoFi with these people with the Israel flags and the Shah flag, by the way, the lion and sun flag that I wear does not have a crown on it for a reason. And this is not like an anti like Pahlavi thing or anything like that. It's just, I'm not sold that all these people in Iran want a Shah. My parents damn sure don't want no Shah, and they're an anti-Islamic republic. So I'm not here to figure out what the answer is because I'm a sports channel. But all I'm saying is this. Just because I was wearing the lion and sun flag, which has been the symbol of the Iranian flag since the late 1700s, does not mean that I'm pro-Shah and I'm happy that the kids got bombed. I don't support any killing at all. I'm a positive guy. I try to, and that's the whole point that I want to end with, is that at the New Zealand game, this inside the stadium and the Belgium game, the amount of Iranians, I was so scared that people were going to go to the game and root against the team because of what I saw on social media. You know, my family, this is something that always brings us together, Team Melli. It always brings us together. It's the only thing that where my grandma, my mom, everyone in our family cares. And it happens every 4 years if we're lucky enough to make it. And now that it's 48 teams, I don't think we're going to miss it. But the Asian Cup and the World Cup are the only things that, you know, allow us to all come together as one like this. And it was a dream of mine for Iran to play in a World Cup at home in America, but an even bigger dream to have them play in LA. Like, that was something that I never could have imagined in a million years. And it actually happened twice. And the scene inside, when I saw everybody wearing white, green, and red, like, that's not, I'll never forget that forever. And we didn't get the results that we wanted. But, you know, being with some of my best friends in the Belgium game, my sister and my mom were next to me at the stadium that I witnessed being built. You know, I've dreamed of a football stadium. And I remember when we got it, I was like, we're going to host World Cup games here. Like, that's going to happen. And Iran played in LA. It was sad, man, when I walked outside the stadium and I see these people attacking people just for wearing Iran jerseys. You know, there's no like pre-revolutionary jerseys out there that I know of, man. If people wanted, if people could wear them, I bet you they would. But every single Iran jersey from every World Cup post-revolution has IR Iran on it. And a lot of people put like the lion and sun sticker over the Allah emblem. A lot of people drew over it. And they're still being attacked by these monsters outside. And I'm calling them monsters because I don't think those people are any better than the IRGC at this point. Like, they're just, okay, maybe that's a little harsh, but like, you're two evils. You're attacking people, spearing people, some of it which are not even wearing the flag. I get it if someone's flaunting the flag around in your face, the Islamic Republic flag, I get it. But some of these people are just there to watch a game and support their homeland. And they have a different opinion than you, that the players don't represent the regime just because they're forced to play under the flag if they want to play. And for them to do what they did. And also, is it coincidence that none of them speak proper English? IRGC terrorists. I can't wait to not fucking hear that shit ever again, or at least for another 4 years. These guys are just players, man. They're just players. And I'm familiar with everything that they've said and done. I put so much time into this. I stayed up all night looking at what these guys would do, just because I wanted to see how much validity these people online that were calling them all sorts of names had. And I'll tell you, they don't have that much because you don't know their situation at all. You're tweeting from Beverly Hills, talking about they should risk their lives. When Steph Curry and LeBron James go out there and say that Trump's a dickhead, you know what happens to them? Donald Trump goes, oh, LeBron, you know, the NBA, the ratings are down. Like, he just trashes them at a fucking rally. He doesn't threaten their families. He can't touch LeBron. So it's not the same as if Bayron Van were to go out there and say that the Islamic Republic are full of scumbags. It's not the same. So, you know, I think I've said enough. I've said enough. All I have to say is that I've seen the monstrosities on both sides. And I think that all this has done is made me more privy to all the hate out there when it comes to this stuff. So on one hand, I'm relieved that it's over. But man, I wish we could have gone through. This is going to hurt for a long time. In 4 years, I bet you we're still going to be IR Iran. And I hope that there's not some kind of atrocity that happens before the World Cup like it has in 2022 with the Zanzendehi Azadi and then this. I hope. But who knows with these monsters, man? Who knows? But I'm not here to promote no Shah either. I'm here to promote freedom. And I'm just here to say that the Iranian people that went and supported the team and all the people that I interacted with online, and you know, before the World Cup started, my entire feed was basketball. I would tweet about soccer, football, and I wouldn't get shit. Only 4 years ago for the World Cup I did. But my whole feed is Iran right now. All Team Melli supporters that followed me. And now we're all in for the USA, baby. That's how I go. I support my home teams, whatever it may be, local, domestic, national. I'm a homer. That's how I'm always going to be. That's how I was always taught to be. I'm never going to change. I don't. You think I'm happy with the USA government? I don't think. But see, Christian Pulisic and Weston McKennie don't have to answer for Trump's crimes, do they? So it's just bullshit. Mehdi Taremi was asked about LGBTQ. And LGBTQ. And you know what? To be fair, Mehdi Taremi said a lot of the right things, like as much as he can say. Dude, he basically said we have nothing against LGBTQ people for a country that's like very anti that stuff. So, you know, I've already gotten too political in this video for my liking. But all I want to say is that I'm really just thankful to all the Iranians that, you know, followed me during this, supported the videos, supported the team, even if they were anti-regime. And, you know, the World Cup is the best event in sports for a number of reasons. And one of the main ones is that it brings other cultures and your own culture and people together. The unification of sports and this beautiful game is what makes this the best thing ever. And this was no different because it tells you that social media isn't the real world. It really isn't. It really isn't. And there's a lot of dangerous things on social media, some that impact me far too much because I use social media for my means of this. And it takes its toll on me. It does. And I have to be better about ignoring that noise and touching grass and being outside because, you know, the reality of what this World Cup was, even from an Iran perspective, was very different than what you see online. And I'll never forget the sea of red, white, and green in SoFi for the rest of my life. Like I'll be old, and who knows, you know, how different my life is when we host a World Cup again. But I'm going to cherish this moment and these moments forever. Even if it didn't end the way that we wanted, I'm still really proud of the team. They had to overcome so much bullshit. They couldn't even stay in the same place after a 95-minute game. They had to go straight to Tijuana. They had to witness their own people, some of them, harassing them and making AI-generated photos of them committing atrocities. That's cool. That's cool. That's not fair. That's not what other players have to go through. And as I said, we're the only team that we don't have our full selection of who the best players are. And then all the stuff that happened today. I mean, and then the VAR, we can't catch a break, dude. And maybe it's meant to be or not meant to be. But I enjoyed the ride. And as I said, sad it's over, but relieved at the same time. Just too much negativity. Too much negativity. But one thing's for sure for me. I'm always going to support Team Melli. Always. I always support the USA. We got Bosnia next. But this was a dream of mine to see Iran make it past the group stage with, you know, I just want to see them make it past the group stage, man. And enjoy it with my parents, with my grandparents. Now we're going to have to wait another 4 years. It sucks, dude. But let me know what you think in the comments. Free Iran. Free Iran. Zan Zindagi Azadi. No hashtag Shaws, though. I'm sorry. Hey, listen, there's probably some reasonable Shaw supporters out there. There are probably some out there, for sure. And unfortunately, these people that are attacking people, IRGC terrorists, be shut off outside the stadium, ruin it for you, the logical people. And then people like that ruin it for me, who has a lion and sun flag. That's the oldest, that's been the emblem of the Iranian flag since pre-Islamic Republic. So, again, no nuance involved in these conversations, no middle ground. It's one extreme to the next, as it is in so many political conversations. But that is all for me. It's been a fun ride, but it's come to a brutal end. I'm going to be at Spain, Austria, though, and I hope Spain kicks their fucking ass. Peace. Khodafis.